Yeah.
Do you sort of see that same youthful energy and political will to enact change pouring over into the field of conservation? Or when you look around, are you still sort of seeing the same people that you were seeing when you started doing conservation more than two
Mm,
decades ago?
mm. Conservation is very resistant to change.
Hmm.
Um, I'd say in Africa, and Kenya is a snapshot of that, because conservation right now is being practiced in a, if you put it very coarsely, Africa has this wonderful wildlife biodiversity. The structured conservation works on a theory that this biodiversity is precious, which it is, yes. It is endangered, a lot of it is, yes. The source of danger is black people. The one to save, the saviors are white people.
Mm.
That's broadly put, that's what it is. Obviously, obviously now, X years later, a lot of the white people are actually as black as you and me. but
Yeah.
but the whiteness is the whiteness is the philosophical framework they're pursuing. So
Hmm.
the greatest challenge we have in conservation in Kenya, and I know a lot of parts of Africa, is that we've been unable to separate wildlife conservation from tourism.
Hmm.
We need to conserve wildlife for its intrinsic value to us as part of our heritage.
Yes.
The fact that some tourists are happy to pay to come and see it should be a byproduct or a
Yeah.
separate thing.
Hmm.
And this is something this is a philosophical hurdle that we've been sort of unable to get past in Africa, and certainly in Kenya.
Hmm.
We have a Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, which is ridiculous in terms of the themes. Tourism should be a byproduct of wildlife conservation and not the reason for wildlife conservation. So as we go now, and this external influence has spread also into sort of the climate change issues, environmental conservation, the carbon trading, all these financial instruments for conservation, and that is what is really hurting us. Sadly, to change it in some areas will require, it's difficult to see how it can change peacefully. People are
Hmm.
going to rebel. People are losing land in areas like northern Kenya. There's a lot of proliferation of small arms. People are
Okay.
losing their land, and they may fight back. There's already been some violent resource conflict in the last few years,
Mm.
and we need to get away from the white model. And because if all conservation policies right now, national parks, ideas around conservation, you ask where this are, it you should lead you back to some white man,
Yeah. It's funny. I was
most of
actually
whom were just, yeah, colonial
in
officers with no knowledge of
yeah.
ecology.
When I was doing just a bit of research to prepare myself and prepare some questions for this, I actually found that the model of conservation that we use today with fortress conservation, the usage of game rangers and park rangers
Yeah,
goes as far back as 1,000 years in places like England, where King Canute
yeah,
created all of these forestry laws. And then there were these big five creatures that could only be hunted by royalty, very similar to the big five creatures
yes,
that we have in Africa
yes,
now. And we're sitting in this situation now where everybody's been making a big hubbub about us being free and us being having political self-determination, but
yeah,
when it comes down to the very important things like cultural preservation, like preservation of our landscapes, we're still using these models that were created by the colonists for the specific benefit of the aristocratic class, not even everybody, the
yes,
aristocratic class and
yes,
the royal class within the colonist sort of group.
yes.
That's very interesting.
It's very unfortunate, and it's sad that people don't see that, because yeah, this is the, like, what came to Kenya, depending on the people colonized, what came to Kenya was like the Victorian gamekeeper model,
Mm.
where you had these lands that were belonged to the nobles, and the wildlife belonged to the nobles, and the gamekeepers were a group of violent people who are violent commoners who are put in place to keep their fellow commoners from maybe killing a rabbit to eat so that the king could kill these things for fun. So again, now it's again, there are countries, many countries in Africa where sport hunting is allowed. So that in those countries, people will pay good money to kill these animals for fun. And you see all these things about figures about precipitous loss of population of elephants or whatever. And I keep asking, what proportion of those elephants are the ones shot by sport hunters?
Mm-hmm.
And what proportion are the ones killed by the so-called poachers? And if we look at worldwide trends, the United Kingdom is the world's biggest trader in ivory today.
Yeah.
The United Kingdom. It's Kenya banned it in 1970s. Other countries banned it a long time ago, but the United Kingdom still pontificates to us today about conservation. Yet they're the biggest traders in ivory, and they don't have elephants. That shows how conservation is still this branch of imperialism. The United Kingdom can't tell us anything about schools or our agriculture or our business, but when it comes to conservation, Prince William can still tell us, I want you to do this.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing.